Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Kulbhushan Chandel from Himachal Pradesh University Shimla. Today we are going to talk on module Managerial Grit from paper Organizational Change and Development. Let me know that what we are going to learn from this module. We will study the managerial grit and grit organizational development concepts. We will understand the managerial grit, leadership style. We will study the identification of one's own managerial style and to assess its impact on others. We will be understanding what should be done for having an effective team in the organization. And finally, we will be studying the major steps in managerial grit. Let me know about managerial grit. Managerial grit was propounded by Blake and Moulton in early 1960s through a devised graphic method which enables a manager to measure his own effectiveness. The managerial grit is an instrumental laboratory method and an in-depth analysis of a manager's personal style. Blake and Moulton has also created a program for organization change which includes individual, group and organization as a whole. They termed it as grid organization development. Grid organization development start with the focus on individual behavior, especially the managerial style of executive. The program then moves through a series of sequential phases comprising of the work teams, the relationship between the groups and subunits, and finally to the culture of the organization itself. The managerial grid and grid organization development represent one of the most extensive applied approach to the organization's improvement and have been used by various organizations. In this module, we would study managerial grid concept and also the detailed 6-phase grid organization development program. We can just know it about the managerial grid through the example. There are various types of teams which are building in the organizations. According to the problem, like a hospital surgery action team are made. In airlines, cockpit cruise action teams are made. In railroad, maintenance production teams are made. For grievance committees, advice teams are made, and many more. Managerial grid. The managerial grid could be used to clarify the complex and dynamic managerial style or roles of organization members, like other group associates. A managerial grid conference comprises of a 1 week off-site meeting aimed at the assessment and development of managerial styles and improves interpersonal skills. It is an intensive 1 week long analysis by each participant into his own managerial style. The managerial grid basically identifies two main key dimensions of the managerial behavior. First dimension measures the manager's degree of concern for production, which could be represented with a range of 1 to 9. 1 representing low concern for production and 9 representing high concern for production. The manager needs not only to be concerned for the production, but he should also have concern for the people, his subordinates and superiors. The manager's degree of concern for people is the second dimension. It is also represented with a range of 1 to 9, 1 representing low concern for people and 9 representing high concern for people. This concern for people and concern for production are represented on the graph on the managerial grid. There are 81 possible managerial styles on the grid, but Blake and Moulton have identified 5 basic styles. These management styles are country club styles, team style, middle of the road style, produce style, and improvised style. Production style. This type of manager is slave driver. He does not want people to get in the way of task efficiency. They focus on the achievement of production at all costs. Country club style. This type of manager is country club or nice guy manager. He wants to be liked and believes in the contented cow theory. These types of managers, by being nice to people, get production. Improvised style. This type of manager is known as zombie. He does not care about people and production. This type of manager is just taking up the space. Middle of the road style. This type of manager wants his employee to be happy but not at the cost of production. He compromises adequate production with the goodwill of the people. Then it is team style. This type of manager is ideal and optimum style leader. He tries to maximize his concern both for production and for people. These leaders are the happiest people when they are winning the team, and that conflicts should be brought out in open and should be dealt with. He expects that the performance will be best when workers and managers work towards shared goals. Grid seminar begins with the examination of the participant's style in a series of questionnaire booklets. During the conference, the participant is involved in the 50 hours of problem solving, decision making, and individual and group critics. He comprises of feedback from team members concerning their impression of other members' managerial behavior, so that each participant clarify his own style and his backup style. A backup style refers to the managerial style that the individual is likely to fall back on in situations of stress. Like, for example, if a manager basic style is 5. The Grid Organization Development Program. The managerial grid seminars are used as a starting point for the planned change program called Grid Organization Development. Grid Organization Development has its objectives that 9 ways of managing for individuals and standards of excellence for the organization. The Grid Organization Development comprises of the following steps. It is grid seminars, teamwork development, intergroup development, development of an ideal strategic model, implementing the ideal strategic model, and systematic criteria. Grid seminars. Organizations get involved in the Grid Organization Development Program in numerous manners. The main involvement begins with the responsible management position. The managers may decide to become familiar with the grid by attending a public seminar to gain the first-hand knowledge. These seminars are generally held for a week or so on, and these seminars are conducted both at day or night. These are conducted at various locations around the country and world. There are about 30 to 40 hours of pre-work in addition to the work to be done in the seminars. The main objectives which are covered in the grid seminars are as under: learning the grid to analyze thinking, increased personal objectivity in appraising oneself, achieving clear communication, learning and working efficiently in a team, learning to manage intergroup conflict, analyzing one's corporate culture by applying the grid framework, gaining understanding of phases of grid organization development. The grid seminars are highly structured seminars with the short lectures and team projects. It is highly intensive and emotionally demanding since it encourages competition between teams and confrontation between team members. If the participant leaves the seminar committed to the principles of grid, he will definitely encourage other key members of his organization to attend a single seminar. Teamwork development. An organization is composed of many subgroups or teams whose members range from top management to assembly line workers. This team development process is concerned with the improving the teamwork and includes a boss and his immediate subordinates meeting together for a 1 week session. Teamwork development starts with the top management in the organization and also involve the employees reporting directly to top management. The subordinates of top management then conduct a meeting with their subordinates, and this continues to the entire system. Team development being a planned activity which begins with the involvement of each team member in completing various grid instruments. The teams deals directly with their daily operations and behaviors. The team members are also getting feedback from the participants on their grid sit style in real life situation. The team sets group goals and individual goals before completion of the work. Then the next comes is the intergroup development. The teamwork development meetings are then cut vertically through the organization having natural goals. The people working in the organization interact with the different teams, departments, divisions, and sections. This unintentional competition among the different departments within the same organization could prove to be a loss for organizational effectiveness. Coordination, cooperation, and collaboration among different elements of the organization are very necessary for the accomplishment of the intergroup development. So, for the intergroup developments, various intergroup meetings are held and attended by the key members of the segment. Intergroup development process mainly comprises of the 3 or 4 days meetings conducted to identify the things which is present in the ideal relationship between the segments. It held in development of group to group relationship. Development of ideal strategic model. The development of an ideal strategic model provides an organization with the knowledge and skills to move from a reactionary approach to one of the systematic development. This phase is concerned with the overall norms, policies, and structures of the organization. The responsibility of these matters rests with the top management and those reporting to them. During a week of study, the main key person in the organization has to define the organization's excellence. An organization can take about 6 months to a year perfecting the ideal strategic model. During this time, other people at various levels have the opportunity to contribute to the model. It would help to build commitment to the model needed for implementation. Implementing ideal strategic model. The way in which an ideal strategic model is implemented, it determines the success of the grid organization development in the organization. The grid organization development program has an implementation model that can be adapted to any organization. An organization can be divided into identifiable segments such as products, profit centers, and geographical areas. After the identification of the segments, the top management team assigns one planning team to each segment, one team to the corporate headquarters, and a coordinator. The coordinator recommends the techniques of the implementation to the top management. The main task of the planning team is to analyze all aspects of the operations section and determine how that section would act ideally. The design is based on the ideal strategic model which determined in the development phase. This developed design is interpreted and implemented for each section by the planning team. Systematic critique. The final phase of the grid OD program is the systematic examination of progress towards change goal. The systematic critique determines the degree of organization excellence after the implementations of the model with the help of measurements as decided in phase 1. The basic instrument which is used is the questionnaire and surveys. It could be done through managerial behavior, teamwork, intergroup relations, and corporate strategy. Team building. The managerial grid organization development focus on the teamwork development also. So the team building is necessary for the effective grid organization development. The team building is the process of diagnosis and improvement of the effectiveness of the work groups with a particular attention on the work procedures and interpersonal relationship within it. The team building also helps in the maintenance of the relations of the team leaders with the work group. The main features and characteristics of the team development may be that all the members of the team must be fully committed and must contribute towards the achievement of the goals. An efficient team must have a clear objective which should be framed after the due approval of the members. There is a need of the cooperative and sportive environment in the team where the members can easily adopt the policy of contributing and simply contributing without any criticism. There must be feeling of commitment, of hard work amongst the team members, and they must also jointly enjoy the benefits and the outputs of the team. There must be feeling of respect among the members of the team for each other. An efficient team must have multi-directional communication system and should also listen to every member. An efficient team must have a high succession rate with a high goodwill. All the members and the team as a whole must be committed to each other and also towards the organizational team goals. Essentials of successful team in organization. The following essential elements should be there for the success of the team and for the effective team working in the organization. Participation and involvement of team members. There has to be an understanding between the members of the team and the leader. There is a need of the participation and involvement of all the members and understanding of all the members that they are engaged in a group task and are not individual activities. For an effective teamwork, it is essential to understand each other. Interaction among members. Teamwork understands the interactions among the members. Unless there is an atmosphere of understanding, the people working in the group will be afraid to expose to each other. Building and securing social status. Team building is a need of the individual to build and secure a special status or position. The ego need in a man who drives him to excel can be advantage for a leader. A manager can excel and simultaneously allow other members to do well, which will be productive to teamwork. Then decision making power of the members. Teamwork involves members getting to know each other and to take decisions by working and knowing each other's. For an effective teamwork, the members are more vocal than others, and there is a tendency among the vocal members to dominate other members and force their point of view and do not encourage. Let's summarize what we have learned from this very module. We came to know that managerial grade is an instrumental laboratory method and an in-depth analysis of the manager's personal style. Blake and Mountain has also created a program for organization change which includes individuals, groups, and the organization as a whole. They termed it as grid organization development. We came to know that grid organization development starts with the focus on individual behavior, especially the managerial styles of executives. The programs then moves through a series of sequential phases comprises of work team, the relationships between the groups and subunits, and finally to the culture of the organization itself. The managerial grade and grid organization development represents one of the most extensively applied approach to organizational improvements and have been used by various organizations. The managerial grade organization development focus on the teamwork development also. So the team building is necessary for the effective grade organization development. Team building is the process of diagnosis and improvement of the effectiveness of the work groups with a particular attention on the work procedure and interpersonal relationship within it. The managerial grade seminars are used as a starting point for the planned change program called grid organizational development. We could know that grid organizational development has its objective, the 9 way of managing for individuals and standards of excellence for the organizations. We could also know the main involvement that begin with the responsible management positions. The managers may decide to become familiar with the grid by attending public seminars to gain the first-hand knowledge. These seminars are generally held for a week or so. These seminars are conducted both at day and night. An organization is composed of many subgroups or teams whose members range from top management to assembly line workers. We have learned this from this module. This team development process is concerned with the improving the teamwork and including a boss and his immediate subordinates who are meeting together for 1 week session. Team work development starts with the top management in the organization and also involve the employees reporting directly to the top management. The development of an ideal strategic model provides an organization with the knowledge and skills to move from a reactionary approach to one of the systematic development. This phase is concerned with the overall norms, policies, and structure of the organization. The responsibility of these matters rest with the top management and those reporting to them. Then we could know that the way in which an ideal strategic model is implemented, it determines the success of the grid organization development in the organization. The Grid Organization Development Program has an implementation model that can be adapted to any organization. We could also know that an organization can be divided into identifiable segments such as product, profit centers, and geographical areas. After the identification of the segments, the top management team assigns one planning team to each segment, one team to the corporate headquarters, and a coordinator. The coordinator recommends the techniques of implementation to the top management. Thank you.